Hello, and we welcome you once again to Facebook Live right here on 1040 KGGR. I'm Robert Ashley on a Monday, and we thank you once again for being with us. Well, today we have a great opportunity to talk with a very distinguished lawyer who has been working with us down through the years here in our Dallas-Fort Worth area. And once again, we're live here on Facebook. It's an honor. And also keep in mind, you can always check out these programs on our 1040 KGGR YouTube channel. And we're honored to have with us today personal injury attorney, the one and only Steve Pipkin of the Pipkin Law Firm. And Attorney Pipkin, once again, it's an honor to have you with us today, sir. How are you today, Attorney Pipkin?
I'm good, man. It's such a pleasure to be here. I haven't seen you in a while, so I'm excited just to lay eyes on you and to definitely, be part of the new KGGR and Facebook family. It's wonderful.
Amen. Well, I'll tell you what, we want to thank you for all that you've done for the former KHVN listeners, the body of Christ, if you will. You are a Christian, you are a believer, you're a family man, and you're a law practice. What you've done down through the years, you've proven that. And once again, it's an honor to have you with us here on 1040 KGGR. And for our 1040 KGGR listeners, I want you to write that phone number down. If you ever need an attorney who's a Christian, who you can trust, we have one with us today, Attorney Steve Pipkin. And once again, it's an honor to have you with us. Well, Attorney, let's start off talking about COVID-19. The coronavirus has wreaked such havoc within the United States of America, right here in the state of Texas as well. How has it impacted your ability to practice law? I mean, I've been in car accidents. You handled a case for me,
Yes,
and
sir.
that was long before COVID.
Yeah.
And I was thankful that we were able to get a good settlement there. But how has COVID-19 impacted the courts and what you actually do?
It's been amazing from a negative perspective. The effect of COVID is what it's done is it basically, of course, shut down the world for a small period, shut down the city, of course, where we are and the KGGR listeners are. And the courts have been closed for a year and 1 month. The courts closed in March of 2020, and they have not been open since. Now, some of the courts, we've had some virtual Zoom type of hearings on matters, but we have not been able to go there live in person or try any cases for a year and 1 month. And so what that means is anyone who's had an accident in the last year,
Yes.
basically, if they weren't able to get that claim settled and reach a settlement agreement, then the only option left to them would be to have their lawyer file suit. Well, we filed a good number of suits during this year, but they're just sitting there. And so what's going to happen is by the time they open the courts
Yes.
and we get an opportunity to have the cases back on track for getting trial settings, there's going to be several hundred cases ahead of theirs that have been sitting there for the full year and whatever period of time till they reopen before they get to their case.
Oh, wow.
And so what happens is someone has an accident today, and let's say 3 months from now, they're not able to reach a settlement agreement and compensate them for their injuries, then a firm like myself is going to have to file suit. But that individual may not go to court for 2 years.
Good. Great.
So what I've tried to urge people is when you're looking to hire a personal injury firm, then you really need to be selective and ask them, what are you doing as a firm to try to offset this 2-year delay? What are you doing to try to expedite my ability to reach a settlement or be compensated on the case? And it's really important because if it's a high volume firm that's looking to always just maximize the highest attorney fees, and they rarely cut their fees and they do other things, many of those firms are willing to wait the whole 2 years or so before their client gets their day in trial. And at that point, they're going to assure that they get their 40% attorney fee as well as their expenses, and that's fine with them. But they need to be selective and look for the firms that are willing to do something different. What we're doing is we're willing to cut our fees, because if that offer comes in, the difference in their ability to have to wait 2 years or maybe reach a settlement now, we might be able to help with that by cutting our fees several points, so that the money that ends up in their pocket at the bottom line is close to what they would have received had they waited 2 years, but they don't have to wait 2 years.
My goodness. Well, once again, for our 1040 KGGR listeners, for those of you with us live on Facebook, if you are in an accident, here's an attorney that can work through and get you a settlement, because right now the courts are clogged. because of COVID-19. There's a backlog. And I'm so thankful that when I had my accident, someone ran into me and you were able to settle it out of court. So now, how can people reach you? And like you said, being able to get a settlement rather than waiting for that backlog to go to court. My goodness.
Yeah.
How can people reach you?
They can reach us at 214-780-0512, 214-780-0512.
Yes, indeed. Now, also, Attorney Pipkin, when it comes down to the court system, accidents, going back to COVID-19, we have seen a lot of people die as a result of a COVID-19. I know that you've been dealing with wrongful death as well. I mean, the question may be kind of a stretch, but we got so much death around us.
Yeah.
In some cases, people say, well, I don't know if this person should die here, person should die there. How should we look at wrongful death in light of COVID-19? People are dying as a result of some reports indicating the vaccine. Some reports say we just don't know. It's kind of a scary approach. I mean, do we suspend our constitutional rights in light of the situation?
It is. It is. I haven't seen any credible information that they're dying as a result of the vaccines,
Yes.
but they're definitely dying as a result of the COVID virus itself. And we know we're at well over 500,000 people have lost their lives, most of which unnecessarily, but due to this virus. And so as far as looking at whether the virus could have been prevented, it takes really specific facts to be able to prove it, because no matter who you hire as your lawyer, they're going to have to prove that the specific actions or omissions, failure to act by whoever you're looking at is what proximately caused that death. And so that's not easy to prove, because we know, having spent a year with it, that there are many different causes, and that's why you wear your mask, because there could be many different groups or people. So it really just depends on the facts. If they have questions, they should definitely consult an attorney, provide them the facts, and then that attorney will be able to let them know if the facts appear, specific enough to possibly place liability on one particular institution or entity. And that's the only way you're really going to know, as opposed to it just being you were in some public place and who knows who may have transmitted it to you. As far as all the other things, there's still going to be, sadly, the wrongful deaths due to car accidents, trucking accidents, and defective products in our society, and we're here to help with that as well.
Now, the George Floyd trial is starting today, and you have a history of dealing with law enforcement, wrongful death in that aspect. But just in the event anyone has to deal with a wrongful death, can your law office help them out?
We can, yes. We're one of the few firms in Dallas who has handled what we call civil rights 1983 cases, and we've tried them in federal court against the city of Dallas for a wrongful shooting that occurred here in Dallas. So that's something we definitely are equipped and able to help with as well.
Yes, indeed. Now, also going back to car accidents, truck accidents, is there any difference? People say, well, I'm in a car accident, maybe I don't need to call a lawyer, but if I'm in a truck accident, I need to call a lawyer. Do you need to just call a lawyer, period, whenever you're in an accident?
You absolutely do. And I'm not saying it because I'm a lawyer. If you talk to someone who's been in an accident, I'd say in the last 2 years, they're going to tell you. Now, if you're literally, there's not much wrong, like really just a minimal amount of soreness, and you feel fine and you're being honest with yourself and your body, then that's okay, because the insurance company in that case will probably give you what they call a nuisance offer. And that's good. There's nothing wrong with that at all. What happens is, if you're looking to obtain physical therapy and treatment, which helps to expedite your recovery, then it's going to be very difficult for you to do that on your own. And the reason is this: your family doctor is not equipped to treat you with that. So if you're in a car accident and you go to your regular family practitioner, he or she's going to tell you, well, we're not equipped with that. They don't have, physical therapists and your general practitioner family doctor. They treat the virus, the flu, a rash, and sprains and things of that nature, but they don't have physical therapists. They don't have the tables for that, and they don't have the modalities that treat that. They're going to refer you to outside places, whether they're chiropractic doctors or medical doctors who specialize in treating soft tissue injuries that you get from an auto accident. But when you go there, you could use your health insurance if you have it, But what happens is you're going to create a health insurance lien. And in Texas, if you
Ooh,
give your Blue Cross, Blue Shield, your Aetna, whoever you have,
yes.
they have the right to get paid back. So
Wow.
after you finish using your health insurance and you try to represent yourself and go back to the insurance company and work out a claim, they're going to say, well, we see in your records that your bills were paid by Blue Cross or United Healthcare, whoever you have.
Mm,
Well, United Healthcare is going to say, hey, Mr. Smith, we want to be paid back.
right,
And
right.
we'll do a little reduction, but at most, they may only want to reduce their bills 25%. Okay. If you retain an attorney, they have the same medical doctors, orthopedic specialists, orthopedic surgeons,
Mhm.
physical therapists, whatever you need, except because of our relationships, we're able to get them to agree to take a larger reduction on what they want to be paid back at the end. So it actually saves you money rather than trying to think you can do it yourself. I've got so many cases where I am the attorney.
Mhm.
The accident report may show it's in my client's favor. There could be 2 or 3 witnesses in the report, and
Yes.
the insurance company may still offer them $2,000 less than their medical bills with an attorney. So imagine what they're going to do when you're trying to represent yourself.
My goodness, my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, once again, for those of you, we're live here on YouTube, or 1040 KGJR page. Robert Ashley with you, YouTube channel. We're talking right now with great attorney Steve Pipkin of the Pipkin Law Firm. If you're ever in an accident, he's a Christian young man. He's been working with us formerly on Heaven 97, now with us here on 1040 KGGR. And Attorney Pipkins, let's give out your contact information and how people should reach you. And should people maybe wait a day after they're involved in an accident, or should I call you the day of the accident? How soon do I get the process started of making a claim?
Well, calling the day of is definitely good. Absolutely the day after. And so the benefit of that is we're able, depending on the facts of the accident,
Yeah.
we're able to jump in and do some things that you wouldn't have yourself. For example, I've handled some severe trucking cases where the people waited a week to 2 before they consulted an attorney. And you may think, well, we were more concerned, which I understand, with the immediate injuries and the anxiety and everything we were feeling. But the problem is within that week and a half to 2, the trucking company had already sold their truck to salvage and gotten rid of the truck. So my trucking experts who I send out to inspect the truck and to pull and download the black box and all
Yeah.
that stuff that's critical, that stuff was gone.
Ah,
And so it makes a huge difference
oh my goodness.
in trying to preserve the value of your case and prove certain things in your case as well. So yeah, it's definitely smarter. Although it may be difficult, it's smarter to try to consult an expert early
Mhm.
so they can protect some of your rights, which protect the value of your case.
I got
Anything
that.
else
Yes. Now here's another question: Is there a statute of limitations on your injuries? Take for example, I'm hit by a big truck, and is there a statute of limitations on that?
there is? It's the same as an ordinary car wreck, which is 2 years from the date of your injury.
Oh
So
wow.
you have 2 years from the date of your injury to file a lawsuit and protect that claim.
Okay.
But the
Wow.
trucking company again can make changes within the first week or few days.
Mhm.
So you have it's best to move faster to preserve certain evidence and information.
My goodness. Now also, what about accidental death? Do you ever deal with any kind of cases dealing with accidental death?
We do. Many of those wrongful death claims are accidental death claims that could occur due to the negligence of a third party,
Mhm.
and they're simply an accident, where someone wasn't paying attention, and so the accidental death is still the same as, in a sense, wrongful death cases. Yeah.
Hmm. Now, malpractice. I know we talked about medical and COVID-19, but take for example, you're in the hospital and you're just going in for just a routine checkup.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, the paperwork may have been switched, and they're performing surgery on
Yeah. Yeah. No, medical malpractice is still alive and well. There are a lot of people, and unfortunately, a lot of lawyers who have a misconception that the entire medical malpractice claim is
you.
capped at 250,000.
Oh
That's
yes,
not
yes.
true. The only thing that's capped is your recovery for mental anguish is capped at 250,000. But you're
Ah,
still able to recover hundreds of thousands for your lost wages or lost income,
yes.
your
Hmm.
past physical impairment or future impairment. It's not capped at 250,000, just your mental anguish damages. And
Yeah,
that
because
makes a big, yeah, that makes a big difference.
yeah, the state legislature a couple of years ago imposed that cap. It seemed like I remember the state
They
legislature doing something like that.
they did. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Now, also, anything else on the law front that you deal with in your office, such as personal injury situations? Anything else that comes to mind?
Well, there are some proposals right now in the state of Texas that the Republican state leaders are trying to put into effect
Mhm.
to try to limit the recovery and put a maximum cap on the amount that you can recover for 18-wheeler type cases.
Oh,
And
boy.
so that's something that other fellow Democratic attorneys like myself and organizations like the Texas Trial Lawyers Association,
Mhm.
ABOTA, and other organizations are currently fighting now in the state legislature to make sure that doesn't pass.
Is there a numerical? Is there a dollar figure they're trying to put on 18? What are a cap?
Yeah, a cap. And you got to remember, in some of these cases, some of these people might be, you could be your early 20s or 30s. And we've
Wow.
seen cases where they're paralyzed, quadriplegics, and other things for life. So they may still have another 30 to 40 years life expectancy
Mhm.
where they can't, you know, move from the neck down or from the waist down.
Mhm.
They'll never work again. They'll never have a normal love life again. They'll never play ball with their kids. I mean, so um, that it's a severe matter right now. Yeah.
Yes. Well, attorney, we got about couple more minutes to go. Now, in light of the backlog in our court system, if you are involved in an accident and you don't want to wait for a trial, you can't get a settlement going. It seemed like you had a standstill. Is there such a thing called mandatory arbitration? Can you force something?
No, not unless the mandatory arbitration only comes into effect where maybe who you were working for at the time or an organization you were involved in has an arbitration clause. Or, for example, in some of the medical malpractice cases, when you're suing a doctor or a nurse, their insurance policies that cover them might have mandatory arbitration clauses, and you may have to go through a mandatory clause in those situations. Walmart at times on some of their policies have mandatory arbitration. So you may have to go through that. It just depends on the particular type of Walmart policy in place. But most of the 90 something percent of the ordinary type of auto coverage policies that are in place for, trucking or whatever usually will not have a mandatory arbitration clause. Now, mediation is mandatory anywhere in Dallas County, Tarrant County, Collin County. If you file suit, you're going to be sent to mediation. Yeah. Can't hear you. We lost the volume. Lost the volume. Can you hear me, Robert? I can't hear you.
All right. Once again,
Oh,
Attorney Pipkins is with us. And Attorney, you can hear me back now. We've got the,
got the now.
but as we're running out of time, one last quick question for you. If someone's in an accident today, how can they reach you? And typically, how long does it take to resolve one of these cases?
They can reach me at 214-780-0512, 214-780-0512. And the period of time, if you're treating an average of, it depends on the patient and the client. If
Mm.
they treat 2 or 3 visits, obviously they'll be done faster and we can request their records and bills and start the claim and get them resolved sooner. On average, I'd say you're looking at probably 2 months. That includes, you know, 6 to 10 visits or however that may be. And then getting the records and submitting a demand. And that's if we're blessed to be able to get an insurance company to offer them a reasonable amount of money to settle their case at that point. So.
Yes. Well, once again, everybody, we've been talking here with the great attorney, Steve Pipkin of the Pipkin's Law Firm. And once again, attorney, your phone number and how people can reach you, sir?
214-780-0512. That's 214-780-0512.
All right. And of course, this young man is a Christian, and he worked with us down through the years on Heaven 97 cases, and now he's here working with our Christian family on 1040 KGGR. And once again, attorney, an honor to be with you today, sir. And we look forward to continuing to work with you. May the Lord continue to bless and keep you, sir.
Thank you, Robert. Be blessed, my friend. Okay.
God bless you then.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.